we have a guest that has recently promoted an unusual event that's groundbreaking. Could you tell us what your event was about?
So it was and it's always hard to remember and to pronounce when you have to say it all. It was an AI-powered virtual artistic multimedia multicast international intercultural event. So
Yeah.
we tried to make it rich. We tried to make it unusual. We tried to make some noise, and we are actually trying. We have another one coming on the 27th.
Yeah.
Um, it's this one was togetherness, and we have twinners coming up. So the idea was to make some noise, to raise awareness, to catch attention, to raise awareness on how many and how valuable benefits, including persons on the autism spectrum in artistic initiatives can be. So we had my colleague Vedran, that's just behind you there on that background.
Yeah.
He's an academic sculptor and a painter and a singer and songwriter. But this was about a painting program, or including two kids on the spectrum, Eric and Gabriel, into his creative process. So he he made this environment where there was music, there was his atelier, and they're all there and they're all creating together, and it takes a bit of an adaptation because there's not always physical movement is not always as free as with the rest of us. So
Yeah.
there needs to be some special accommodations. But once those are achieved, and once the right atmosphere is achieved, magic things happen. And we do have those on camera, and we do have that artwork produced by Eric and Gabriel that we would like to showcase as well.
Okay. So, what are the components that go into creating an event like this?
It takes a lot of, my wife will say, sleepless nights. I haven't been sleeping because, so what happened is, it was also specific because it was broadcasted from two locations on two different continents. And so it took a bit of logistics, or a lot of logistics, in order to make that happen, and some technology, like, so I'm lucky to be cooperating with professionals. So all these people are professional performers, are artists. So Ivan, who is the one behind you as well, is like composer and film music maker, and and I call him a sound magician. He's a sound designer.
Yeah.
So he was on that end, and he made sure to arrange everything there. So there was a violinist as well, and Vedran was singing and playing his music, and then Ivan was playing music and designing sound for the whole
Yeah.
event on that side. And then there was Ben Anthony Lavoz, who is a Canadian Latino star, who is the one on the left behind you there, and he was performing on this side, and I was a bit as well, although I come in a bit of a different form of art.
Yeah.
So we included. So what we also find important is to raise awareness of how much smart tools can be leveraged in everyday life,
Yeah.
and so as well in artistry. So So it was a conceptual art event. So there was AI involved in all steps, in all phases of be it preparation, be it execution of the actual show. So
Yeah,
that made it even more interesting. So hopefully next time you can tune in and maybe broadcast live through
yeah.
your channels. That would be nice.
Okay, so how do people see this event?
It was a Zoom event,
Zoom.
funnily enough, just like
Okay.
the one where we are now. But
Yeah,
it's a special edition of Zoom. It's a Zoom webinar, but there's this component that's called original sound for musicians. So I have it right here. So if I right now it's off. So if I turn it on, now
yeah,
you might perceive a difference in sound. But the bottom line is we could be simultaneously broadcasting into the air, and the audience would hear us blend. Now that will also depend a bit on the connection.
yeah,
So if you have a good broadband connection, that's going to be more successful. If there are delays, that's going to be a bit more challenging. But then you have to be then you have to be the artist and accommodate that, right?
yeah. I got it. So,
So,
so
so people were,
basically,
yeah, people
the,
were. The audience was mostly virtual that this time,
yeah,
even though it's gonna be hybrid. There was a tiny bit of audience, but it wasn't an official physical event as well. Where
yeah,
the next one will be, it's gonna be in an art gallery,
yeah.
where it's gonna be open to the public as well, and we're gonna be performing live.
So, what did the artists think of the event after performing and the reaction compared to regular concert?
What did the artist? What was the question?
How did the artists feel about the event after?
Oh, the
Yeah,
artist felt fantastic because it was avant-garde. It was unusual for them too.
yes, yeah,
Uh, all that uh, all that had to be orchestrated very well, and there was they were nervous a bit,
yeah,
skeptical. Can it will it work? Can it work? Then there was also an element of surprise because us being on a different continent, we yes have aligned on many things, but there were also many things that I, as a producer, could
yeah.
not share. There was just not enough time, not enough platforms to share it all, right? And then there is this improvisation factor, right? Where you're there, and it was on Toronto Island in Queen City Yacht Club, which we thank
Yeah,
very much for their hospitality. They allowed us to broadcast from there, so we had the Toronto skyline in the background.
yeah,
And but yeah, so there's some you can come there by boat at a certain time. The show had to be at a certain time because then both continents would have it available.
yeah.
So there are constraints, and then you have to improvise a little. And then some things weren't working as designed. That was also a part of it. But then you massage it all and make it make it all part of the art.
Okay.
Let's say.
Yeah. So, what percentage of AI was used for this event, would you consider?
It was heavily used. So it was used in preparation of all the materials that were
Yeah,
broadcasted, simply because, and that's also one thing that we want to demonstrate going forward is how you can simplify your life. I use AI now daily. For composing emails,
yeah,
for just gathering information, statistics whenever you need. But also like you can, I among other things, I make websites, right? So
yeah,
you actually ask AI to, hey, write me a snippet of code that will make that video show up there and do this. So you actually tell this AI assistant what you need done,
yeah,
and it, like an old friend programmer that you always wanted to have, who you're making a website. Oh, my mentor, my guru, my best friend, he's been
yes,
in programming for years. Now you have it there, at your disposal, and it knows all the tricks. It knows, what can be done, what cannot be done, how you can tweak something. So and that is applicable both in, putting together a show, putting together presentations, or creating. So Ivan could tell you more about that, how it was actually modifying sound that was played in real time by real musicians, but then it pitched in, AI pitched in, and altered some part of it in
Yeah.
order to make it all better, I guess. If we're talking about AI still,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it changes things completely, because you can now. So what I did, for example, is I wanted to sing a song, but the song was originally written by me, and
Yeah.
it was a sort of a sarcastic song. So it wasn't it wouldn't be appropriate to sing that song in
Yeah.
that show, because the nature of the show. But so what I did, I just threw in the original text, and I said, make me a parallel text. So copy the rhyme, copy the rhythm, the feel, but give me a different text, and it just spit out,
Yeah.
a perfect song, just like that. And you can give it a
Yeah.
theme. You can tell it, okay, write a song for me about, a sad story, but that gets better because, whatever, they reunite in the end, and whatnot. But so you can tell it the whole scenario, and it will actually produce it in milliseconds.
Yeah.
You can have this presentation done. It's a tool called Beautiful.ai. So you actually tell it in one or two sentences, create a presentation, like 10 slides long presentation that will emphasize the importance and the impact of, hip hop on on theater.
Yeah.
And it generates these 10 slides that you can literally, if you're a bit of a talker, you can
Yeah.
literally take them, put them out there, and talk over them right there, right, without need to modify. And then
Yeah.
if you modify and tweak it to your purpose, it's like perfect, right? But so that's where we are. That's how we cannot say it doesn't impact. It impacts
Yeah.
very much everything around us. There will always be some things that you cannot. I mean, depends if you're, from what generation you come. I come from a generation that thinks that Paul Simon and Art Garfunkel and you know Aaron Neville had
Yeah.
have something that you can't really just reproduce and copy and plagiarize and whatever,
Yeah. It's
even
unique.
though the computer is going to create something so similar that the audience is not going to be able to tell that
Yeah.
it wasn't Paul. Now, I am still I still believe that there's some things that you cannot simulate and copy and
Yeah.
all that. And then there is younger generations who don't know the era
Yes.
before this, and for
Yes.
them, it's nothing special. For them, they grew up with 10 gadgets around them, and for them, it's not going to be nothing special. But what they don't have, for example, is these skills of performing arts. That's also fading now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's changing our world significantly in a good way if we be careful.
Okay. So, what are your thoughts on some people who believe AI might replace artists? Do you believe that's possible?
Uh,
Or
I didn't hear the last part. AI, what was with the artist?
do you believe that some people believe that AI might take away jobs and
Okay,
creativity for artists?
okay. So the artists are untouchable, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing. So if you're an artist, if you're a proper artist, then you're gonna have this colony that follows you and that feels you and that sees the value of what you're doing. And then you're gonna have this, even though AI is going to be able to simulate a lot, or if not all that you can do, it won't have the ability, the politics in you, the sarcasm in you,
Yeah.
the feel. So that's where what is art. That's why I call us provocateurs in that presentation as well. We're
Yeah.
not just artists. We're not just performers. We are. How this event started is I actually asked AI on screen. So I share my screen and I was talking to Google Gemini and I
Yeah.
asked it like, "What are you?" And then say, "I'm a large language model AI, this that." And the next question was, "And how do you feel about it?" so
Yeah.
so and they say it's going to be able to learn. Here's an interesting fact how it can be unjust. They put a learning model in so they expose the learning model to the statistics and historics of sentencing in US. So
Yeah.
it would suggest sentences to the judge. So the judge doesn't have to think too much. But based on these
Uh,
many times it happened, here's what you should recommend as a sentence.
I never thought
And
about that before. Yeah.
it was very biased, right? When a
Yeah.
person was African American, uh, the sentence was longer,
Yeah.
worse, you name it, because generations of judges were
History.
biased.
Yeah.
So you gotta be careful there because you also they say, oh, it kind of crawls the internet and then it serves you information. So if there is false information on the internet, there is a lot, so it
Yeah.
will just garner those results and serve them to you as well. So you cannot blindly trust what it's saying. I mean, it is statistically correct information, but it's not
You have to double
just.
check.
It's not politically correct. It's not emotionally correct, spiritually, if you will. So
Yeah.
we have to be, and that's why I also don't believe. They're saying that we're doomed when these machines become self-aware and then perceive us as someone who can pull the plug, right,
Yeah.
and be a threat to them. And then they said that they're not, some their theories, obviously, like with everything. One is that they're gonna dilute us enough to just have enough of us to not be a threat to them,
Yeah.
because they still need us to push the buttons, so they cannot eradicate us. But see, I don't believe that any sort of artificial intelligence or algorithm or computer or whatever you name it
Yeah.
can actually be destructive if it's not either neglected by us or wrongly instructed. So if you are using a tool, you use a saw, an automatic saw, and you go do the wrong thing, you're gonna,
Yeah.
break things. You're gonna cut yourself. You're gonna probably cut someone next to you and stuff like that. And it's not because you meant it. It's because it happened. There's physics. There's
Yeah.
centrifugal forces at play, and so it will be with AI. So someone is gonna take it who shouldn't be allowed to take it in their hands, and it's gonna be like, oh yeah, let's just do this, right? But then do this, you can now shut down water supply, electrical supply, by
Yeah.
giving a wrong command in a
Yeah.
wrong way. If you have, if the doors are open, if someone, let's say two people, one unlocks things by mistake and one sends down a bot to do things by mistake because they are just playing or whatever, right? But things happen then. You can open dams, you can shut off grids, these are things with consequences.
Yeah. So, any last words you want our viewers to learn about you and your projects?
Well, I just want to thank you very much for hearing us, for hearing the noise. Hopefully, you can help us make some more noise. It's all about. Let's make it about others, right? That's what is important. It has to be about our champions. It has to be about
Yeah.
um, um, For us it's easy. We have platforms now. We have, Instagrams and radios and YouTubes, and
Yeah.
but not everyone has the same chance and ability to actually use those. So that's where we're coming from. That's what we want to do. We want to include, um, um, and then, I'm not gonna call them diverse. I'm not gonna call them. I'm call them champions. So let's make sure that we include our champions, and then only then it will be a real proper, feel emotion, that and that's what's driving this.